比尔吉欧特，烈酒酝酿，来人到清泉，洗不尽沧桑。谁的终点在前方？骤停，诅咒的命运却不断的回响。
看不见坠饰，狰狞暗藏，舒瑞玛的愤怒终将埋葬。皮尔特沃夫，唾弃着你，只剩黄沙傀儡轮回吟唱。
谁负？谁胜？你说了算。
好的，各位观众，欢迎回来，继续收看这一场 VGS 以及EP 之间的一个战斗。那么这是 A 组的胜者组的一个决赛了，所以换句话说 ，EP 刚才先下一场1比0领先的状态。
And welcome back. I'm your host Frostgren, joined on the casting desk with again the lovely and moist Skill Factory. We are coming up into game 2. Yeah, I heard the smack of your lips as you were thinking about protest.
I was thinking about it, but then I'm like, wow, I'm an old man. I'm gonna let these kids have their fun.
Oh wow. But we are coming up into game. I'm just imagining that anytime the word moist is used, just the rating on a stream just skyrockets. It instantly goes from PG to PG-13 just on that one word alone.
Well, when the rating goes up, the viewers go up, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah, we're still.
We don't have the tri-cast though that they have going on here with the duo female casters.
I'm too transfixed on I'm going to be very blunt right now. The cleavage on the girl on the right, the zipper on her outfit pretty much lines up perfectly with, I'm assuming that's the cleavage line, although it looks so static, like it looks like it was drawn on.
Yeah, nobody has to tell her if you got it, flaunt it.
There is some push-up work going on over there.
If you think about it, the guy in the middle also rocking the facial hair. You don't see that you know, over in Southeast Asia very much.
I just want to say that I went cleavage and you went straight to facial hair.
Well, because facial hair is the guy's equivalent. I mean, it's not like he's going to be able to strip down and show his pecs. So that's pretty much it. I mean, even if he could, would you really want to see him? You know, I think he looks very dapper in his suit right now.
Oh yeah, he's got a James Bond theme going on. But we are coming into, I forgot why we started this. We are coming into game 2 of our series between Vici Gaming and Energy Pacemaker. Energy Pacemaker with a commanding lead so far, so this could turn into game set match with a 2-0, but we'll see if Vici Gaming is able to pull back from this. They will be on red side this time around.
If first game was any inkling on what's going to happen next, I am really, really worried for, you know, VG to create anything here. They had no opportunities last game, it looked like, to even make plays. It wasn't like they misplayed and fell behind. It was like they were just controlled. They were the EP puppets, just dancing around the Summoner's Rift wherever EP wanted to place them. So we really need to see some decision making out of VG and them to assert themselves and pick what they want to go for. I mean, even if you pick it and fail, it's better than just not picking it and failing. You know, like if you don't pick a fight or an objective to go for, then you're always going to be at a disadvantage.
Are there any sort of weaknesses or picks in specific that you would want to target for Vici to take away here? Or do you think this had nothing to do with picks and was simply a playstyle mismatch?
Like, I mean, I thought the picks were, you know, the team comp from VG was very mid-game oriented. They had their early game lane bully on Lucian, which played out really well for them. And the other picks was the mid-game team fight. They had the AoE damage from Orianna, the lockdown from Morgana, and then the corralling from the equalizer out of Rumble. So they had that great mid-game team fight, which, you know, the Chinese are known for, that coordination, you know, just locking it all together seamlessly. But they just never got to a point where they were even in the even. That's weird.
Even?
Yeah, so they
I literally can't even right now.
Please no. So they never even got to that point where they could create a team fight and, you know, break out with a great ace because the clean execution, because of how far they were behind. So they either need to pick earlier game champions or have a game plan to get to that mid game where they aren't so far behind.
Well, they've got their game plan, it looks like, in their hands as he folds it and unfolds it. So hopefully some direction is coming from the coach. Looked like he had a quick chat with his players as we're getting ready to get into picks and ban phase. Now looking at Energy Pacemaker here. Obviously riding the morale of a... It wasn't a clean sweep. I believe the end score was, what, 4-16? But a pretty devastating
They grabbed an extra J4 kill. Or Kha'Zix picked up a couple of kills at the end there.
There was a couple of parties right in front of the Nexus turrets. Oh, here we go. Into picks and ban. Exactly.
Oh, good. We have the cleavage here too.
It cut perfectly too.
Yes. So we have we're gonna see. I would say the same bans. I don't think that they're going to focus out any other bans. Maybe they'll leave the Syndra up now that VG's on red side. I don't know if that was a really important ban because Zeroth seemed to be very effective for EP. And I mean, I guess they could maybe ban Syndra out or ban Zeroth out and hope they don't first pick it and counter pick it, but I don't think the bans are really going to decide here. I think that it's really their game plan coming into their team comp. They had a great AoE team comp, they never got to use it. They had a great bottom lane, and they never got to use it. So it's really not their picks, it's their execution on those picks.
They do go ahead and grab the Kha'Zix this time around, so not going to look for that Jarvan, but immediately Vici Gaming responds by taking away Amazing J's Aurelia. Not going to have that back-to-back, so we'll see what he's going to pick up from here, as well as hovering the Lucian.
Yeah, the carry going, anything you can do, I can do better. And then Lucian also following up. I think Lucian played out really well last game. You know, he did his job. He was ahead mid-game. I don't think he used his lead well. I sound like a broken record now. But, you know, I think locking it in is still a good idea.
That should mean that we'll see Corki as the other AD carry. I'm just guessing, since I think we've seen him, what, 100% of the time through every single series so far?
Yeah, if we see a Thresh, it's been a Corki. And we have seen a Thresh Corki lane every game thus far.
But
I think with our first series, it flip-flopped.
Yep.
We had them change teams midway.
But since that Syndra was not banned out, it is going to go ahead and be picked up for this mid lane here for Energy Pacemaker.
Ooh, an Elise hover.
Instead of the Jarvan.
I mean, it would be a better... I mean, Jarvan's a great early game jungler as well, but Elise would increase their pick potential, I think, a little bit better than Jarvan does. It's a little bit harder to flash cocoons coming out of brush than it is the standard. The standard kind of gives a really telltale on where he's going to be going, but doesn't give a lot of team synergy. And then they're going to go with a Braum. So the classic Lucian Braum down in the bottom lane, you know, using that the light slinger to proc the stun off of Braum. Yeah. And it looks like the Maokai pickup.
You know what I'd never thought I'd see? A Maokai last pick.
Yeah, it wasn't banned out last game, and nobody wanted it. So not contested, but then a Riven pickup. So we're going to see a Riven mid lane?
A Riven mid lane into the Syndra right there, and we are going to see the Maokai into the Aurelia. So kind of walk me through some of these engagements. Let's start with the mid lane and work up into the top lane. Although, there's no way that that's going to be an Aurelia bid.
That's what they're locking in. So...
Are they going to switch?
So Riven versus Maokai, you know, Riven always has the potential to win early. You always have, you know, your level 2 and level 3 are just huge in comparison to anything Maokai can make work. So Maokai's going to need jungle help early to make sure he doesn't die versus Riven if they get a 1v1. Now, Aurelia versus Syndra, I mean, you have to have a huge advantage for Syndra.
Let's just think about this. Syndra has crazy range, so she's going to have the range advantage in Aurelia. Aurelia does have the ability to stick to targets and to get to backlines with the power of her Blade Surge. It's hard to hit an Aurelia with the initial like poke damage from Syndra just because it's all skill shot based, and again Aurelia has that mobility coming in from her Blade Surge, but the ultimate is targetable, so I feel like it's almost a skill based matchup and that Aurelia has the tools on her kit to punish Syndra, but Syndra, I mean, if she hits and she lays down enough balls, she's just going to press R and half health you.
Yeah, and neither one of them are factories, so I don't know if they'll have enough skill to counter the other mid laner, but you have to give the win to Syndra. I mean, Aurelia, Blade Surge, is going to get in there, and then Scout of the Week's just going to knock her back. And then what does Aurelia do? You really, I mean, even if you get the stun, and you can't close the gap in the time that they're stunned in the middle of Stat of the Week. I mean, just assuming all is equal in reaction times and someone doesn't just absolutely derp and misclick or something like that, you know, you have a chance to reset, and we're going to see Riven mid lane. But it's going to be Carrie playing in the mid lane. That's possible?
Yeah, that looks like that's how they're going to set that one up there.
Hold on, let me crumple up my theory crafting paper here and just get rid of this.
I was just going to say, Aurelia loses a lot of power also being on the shortest lane. The fact that she is such a mobility-style champion, that to not be on an elongated lane for the chase potential seems like kind of a wasted opportunity for her.
Yeah, it definitely would have been. I mean, we've seen Riven mid before from some very famous Asian mid laners.
We're never going to talk about them.
But, you know, it's one of those things where you have to outplay them. So at this point in time, you know, Riven can close the gap onto Syndra, but you have to bait out the Scouter of the Week. I mean, you can't just, you know, go straight forward and hope to get, you know, a stun off or even the knock up from your third Q. But you really have to just outplay it. You have to bait out the stun and then go for an engage, or get a good gank from Elise.
And again, we do have the jungler starting on the top side, so trying to give the early advantage to their bot lanes, allowing them to get to that lane early and contest level 2, and a little bit of a cheese maneuver going down there. It looks like Braum and Lucian are standing on the very tip of that brush, again, trying to take advantage of Braum and Lucian's very strong level 1, and here comes the face check! Oh, but a nice phosphorus on hits both. The exhaust comes out. Looks like everyone's going to back off, but actually Vici Gaming slowly losing this trade here as a nice flay pulls Moon back, forces out the flash. Bobo now is forced to flash. Here comes the double flash into a heal. Is he going to get away? And no! First blood over to Kane. Will it be a double kill? No. Moon walks away with a sliver of HP, but this is huge for EP out the gate.
Wow, could that have not gone more wrong? I don't know why they continued to fight, and they chose a retreat path through all of the enemy's minions.
They were like high-fiving the creeps as they ran.
Yeah,
to safety.
Instead of ducking back into the bush and letting them reset and then creating that fight where you already had the advantage, they walked back through the minions, giving them all of that purple caster minion damage, and just so much damage. I guess, I mean, we're in colorblind mode, so it's the blue caster minion damage, but it's still huge, huge damage. You know, one wave of minions can kill you in like, I think it takes like less than 15 seconds at level 1.
And obviously huge things down. Every single summoner in the bot lane is down. Both bot lanes went ahead and back, so they are going to expend that first blood gold to get an item advantage. Hold on a second though, because Captain actually caught out here. Moon looking for revenge.
Yep, the buddy system with the wards in the mid lane there. So Carrie, we're going to see fall behind in CS a little bit early on. We should see a very dominant lane from EP early, because Riven really doesn't have a chance to kill EP until Riven's level 6, unless there's a big misplay.
With that, though, we do have the double buddy system. Finds Emmy out. He is going to repel up, but nothing to drop down to. Drops down near the wall, flashes it, takes the hook, as well as Captain following it over, and he will pick up the kill there as well as the buff, so that is pretty big for Kha'Zix.
Would you say that was Captain Hook?
Nope.
I'm pretty sure you just did, for the record. But it was a great play either way by Captain and Thresh to create a kill in the jungle. It should have been, I mean, at least should have been a little bit wary about that. They pretty much knew that they were still in the bottom side jungle. The only other chance they could have been was bottom lane, and Elise just went for the wolves instead of taking the safe path around.
I tried to deadpan it, and I just, like, couldn't. You came out with the accent. The delivery was pretty... again, if we were going to be, like, 6 on the... I don't even remember what champion pun it was. The Thresh pun? I'm going to give you 7 right now for delivery.
Okay. I think it was the and flashes.
Flashes
Flash
everywhere.
burn mid. That was Flash Elise, I believe. No, Elise burned Flash earlier, so that was just Elise creating an opportunity in the mid lane. So the only one up right now for EP with Flash is Maokai. So Elise needs to create something on this map right now where everybody's at a flash disadvantage.
And we've only got 3 flashes left in this game, so...
It was the Maokai wood chopping one. That was the number 6.
Oh, was that it?
Yeah.
Got some bacon in there. We got the Maokai wood chopping. We've got some
Fresh to a T didn't even get on the scale.
It didn't even make the list. Notable mention. let's hit the CS across the boards because we did have some early backs and. First and foremost, the bot lane, 34-17 right now. Corki has the longsword advantage as well as a couple of pots, although Lucian is making a quick back to try to even that up. Maybe going for an early brutalizer.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to go with an early brutalizer to try and keep some sustain. He'll get a brutalizer way earlier than Corki will even get close to his Trinity Force. But I mean that CS is just because of and then we see top lane. So
burns another flash, like you said.
Goes top lane and burns another flash, but not going to create a kill in that one lane that had flash. Decides to gank that one. It made the most sense unless you could get down to bottom lane. But the CS advantage down there is clearly from the first blood. Pushed in, that whole pile of minions just went into the tower as Lucian was dead. And now mid lane, it's actually Riven versus Syndra, so it's 48-42, and Riven actually ahead from that one gank that Elise gave to burn the flash from Syndra. Riven was able to get ahead in minions, and then top lane Aurelia really dominating. It wouldn't seem like 12 CS is a lot, but when you think that's like a 25% lead, it's a huge.
So everything slows down right now. Every single flash on the side of EP is down, so Emmy, the ball is in your court. You can pick any lane.
Yeah, and they're going to run out of their time down bottom. They will have the counter flashes, though, so, man, without level 6, though, it'd be really, really difficult to lock down either Thresh or Corki and pick up a kill. Thresh actually trying to make a play in the mid lane and might hang Corki out to dry here. And I think Lucian smells it as he goes in right here.
Definitely exchanging a lot of damage over on Kane. Bobo and Moon are going to back off. We'll see if this gank pays off the mid lane. Everyone's actually going to back off, so a lot of resources expended mid lane for EP, but nothing pulled yet as far as the trigger. Syndra ult available. We'll see where that cooldown is used.
Gonna get the blue buff. Get that cooldown on a low cooldown. And, if you can get a good stun...
Soon looks like he is, he's standing on a ward, so he knows they're there. Eats the scat of the week straight into a CC chain of the hook. Takes the Syndra ultimate. The flash is now going in as they're trying to chase onto this. Amazing Jade teleports in. Looks like they're going to get another free kill as Aurelia dives back in, just trying to slow the rest of the team down from chasing.
And Carrie seemed a little late. It seems like the TP... Carrie wasn't even ready to even slow down the Maokai from the TP. Probably could have got in there, stopped Maokai from actually getting the Twisted Advance. Maybe saving a life, very doubtful. But, EP once again making great vision. Like, look how deep their wards are in the red side jungle now.
He is not about to see Carrie come up behind him. Finds the stun right here. Will it be enough? Flashing forward underneath the tower and picks it up with a nice Q combo.
That's what you need Riven to do. If Riven's able to get to that really scary Riven where she finishes like Hex Drinker Hydra and then has like, the makings of a Last Whisper and can just start one-shotting people in a stun, then they might be able to pull this out with some split push fanatics. Sorry, finesse, not fanatics. But it's going to be really, really difficult to do. They are down by 2 kills. VG hasn't been able to even... compete in vision.
A little bit of breathing room here for Bobo and Moon as they get hooked up actually underneath tower into a flay. The tower just chomping through Bobo, but a nice stand behind me will let him walk away from that engagement, but a 2 versus 1, and they almost lose.
Yeah, I think Bobo, I don't know what the deal is with his AD carry, but it seems like he's just not respecting the abilities of the other champions that are around him.
Didn't you know that Thresh Death Sentence is a targetable ability?
Targetable?
Targetable, yeah. Only for Bobo, though, especially because he also has Relentless Pursuit.
Yeah. And this is, that turns into Dragon. Like, their overextension down to the bottom turret and the good play by Thresh to pull them in and force the damage gives them the first Dragon of the game. So EP, once again, up on objectives early on here. They might be able to turn this into a bot lane tower if they get a catch. They have the vision, as Moon might get caught out here, but good old Bobo is there to make sure that Moon can get out alive.
Good old Bobo. I'm sorry, it's just funny because it's not one of the things that I think I would ever hear, but it just happened. But we did talk about something even more important as Moon walks straight into a scatter of the week and is just obliterated. It's going to be Kane that's going to pick up that call as they hail under the gat, but doesn't mean anything. Bobo going to walk back to his tower. Needs to back, though, because the dive is coming. Here comes Kha'Zix. Bobo trying to kite backwards, but he's got the red buff on him. It's going to be 1 and 2, and Captain Hook gets another kill for himself.
Yeah, Captain did a good job rotating around the map, and Riven was actually looking for a kill up top lane. And I think Maokai sensed that it was coming. Didn't see Riven go down to defend bottom lane and decided to fall back. Riven now pushing up the mid lane as fast as possible, trying to answer back on what will be the first tower of the game as VG takes this one down, sharing all that local gold. And again, with the quirky taunt laugh spam from EP here.
Again, I do want to kind of underline something. You talked about this in Champions, like the fact that Vici Gaming really didn't come into this game with a plan or they just passively lose. And they're very reactionary in everything that they do, and they just react a little bit too slowly, or they don't team fight well enough. And this kind of feels like the story of this game again, as EP is starting to run away with it.
Yeah, I agree. It seems like they're picking strong champions or a strong team, but they're just picking them because they're exactly that. Not picking them because they have a plan to use them. You know, like carry in the mid lane. Riven got the roam, got a kill, is even in CS right now, has what is needed, and they sit in this brush again. So they already lost Aurelia to this brush, and now they're just hoping to catch somebody crossing over the top lane.
I know they're going to come here for the non-existent blue buff as Zun gets caught up in the mid lane, into the top lane. It is 4 people right there, and everyone getting a piece of the pie, but it is going to be Amazing J that walks away with the kill, and now with this 4-man push, it looks like they're going to look for the top-tier tower. Ping's going down for Vici Gaming to try to get in position for a mid-tower exchange.
Yeah, and you know, when you look at something like this, if they had already been pushing up the mid lane, they could have had it done instead of waiting in that brush, just hoping that somebody will walk through and that they won't get stunned by Syndra.
That Young Glory's jungler Yinfu needs to join. I hear he's probably a free agent now. No, I'm kidding about the free agent thing, but not in the expansion tournament. But bush sitting simulation.
Yeah, they really like that river brush. They think that that's the place where everybody catches people and wins games.
It's where all the cool kids are hanging out.
Like, guys, we sit in this bush till 20 minutes, they'll surrender. It'll happen.
Am I watching Fnatic? Too soon? It's okay.
No, it's fine.
No, it's fine. Coming on to 13 minutes and 20 seconds of this game, we're going to try to walk away from that. It's 6-1 in favor of Energy Pacemaker here against Vici Gaming. They are 1 up in the series. It's a best of 3, so if Vici Gaming don't get their asses in gear here, they're going to fall into the losers bracket. It won't spell the end of them, but it will spell one of their chances and one of their lives gone.
Yeah, you really only get 2 chances, and you know, there was a lot of falter from from EPC, but Energy Pacemaker in this game is doing exactly that. They are setting the pace. They set the pace of the last game. They set exactly where they wanted to go. They had the vision. Right now they're lacking vision, so they're kind of vulnerable at the moment. But as you see, when they're vulnerable, they're not in the enemy jungle. They're not in their own jungle. They're grouped up and they're pushing a lane.
Definitely, and right now they're grouped up in that mid lane. We'll see if they're able to get any sort of damage or take the tower, possibly look for a dive. We do have Carry not there to help his team clear out the wave. He is actually going to trade a free global objective as far as that structural bot lane tower.
We haven't seen much success from any split push so far tonight. We've seen it attempted multiple times. This is the first kind of successful tower taken and not answered, but it ends up being a tower trade as they group up, take the mid lane turret. They don't have to expend anything for it. But VG, smart, not getting caught. Carry putting good damage down. So, you know, the longer they leave Riven alone, the better it is. And then Aurelia now in the top lane. So they're doing 3-1-3, which we saw before and didn't exactly pan out. But we'll see if VG can execute a little bit better.
Look at the different of itemization so far across the board between Corki and Lucian. That is a completed Trinity Force, one of the most expensive items in the game. Lucian just sitting on a Brutalizer, but hold on, because Amy just got cut up by a Scatter of the Week. Is going to flash away. but one escape gone, and so is his red buff.
Yep, and now we see the vision control once again from EP as they push in this red side jungle.
Oh, but there's Moon caught up again as Amazing J, but Carry now into the back line trying to find a stun, but immediately gets blown up as Energy Pacemaker collapses onto them. But wait, Vici Gaming finding a bit of a second win. Nope, never mind. Here comes Energy Pacemaker just ripping through the middle of that team. Looked good for a second there, but then
another
Corki got
split
involved.
team fight. So it wasn't a fight they wanted from the start, but they were split up. So they're on both sides of that brush, and they couldn't collapse on EP because they're not strong enough to force a 5v5. They really need to be able to get on one side, focus their damage and their CC, and try to pick somebody up. And, you know, when you split it up and you create these 3v2 and 2v3, you're really just not going to win when you're trying to kill a tanky Maokai.
And we will have the replay of that onto the screen, so if you can step through, like you said, the split engagement here.
Yeah, so they're going to jump in. Riven gets in there, gets some good damage and some CC, but gets just annihilated right away. And Riven's the furthest ahead right now. So then it's just cleanup crew. As Amazing J created the fight, he flashed in, got another route to solidify that kill. And it was they kind of faltered. Like, Braum got caught. They knew it was happening. They had the collapse onto Maokai, but how can you kill Maokai first? It's just not possible. So it was all advantages for EP in that fight.
And EP not only coming ahead, of course, into these team fights, but always making sure an objective after they get one of these advantages. So just starting to compile this lead even farther to a 6 to 7K advantage.
Yep, and this turns into that systematic game that EP played last time. You know, they'll push a tower if they have a chance to get damage down, they will. They won't chance it. They'll always have vision on either side. And now here's the kind of forced engage that they want to get. They land the cocoon, but a lantern on top of them gets them right out of there.
They are continuing to chase, though, as Zun looking for the flank right here. Gets the Blade Surge in, finds the stun on Captain. Captain getting caught up. May go down, trying to use his stealth to disengage from a nice fissure, or glacial fissure across 3 members of EP. Trying to kite this backwards, but here comes Amazing J, and now the tides have turned as EP starts storming back in with the cavalry.
Yeah, so it was a good force of the fight when they knew Maokai was down bottom. They had timer on his TP. They knew he wasn't going to be there in time to fight, but they forced it so hard that they had to chase an entire lane to try and get up there. They got the catch on the Kazakhs. Kazakh stealthed up with his ultimate, and they weren't able to capitalize the kill before Amazing J came into the fight.
Exactly, and with a perfect disengage from EP, they only lose 1 member and are able to change the tide of that fight and take a second-tier mid-tower for their troubles.
Yeah, so, you know, once again, EP in the driver's seat. They're just cruising this bus along to victory right now. All 5 members just bouncing along.
They don't get like a Ferrari?
No, you can't put 5 people in a Ferrari. You put them in a bus, and then a bus can just mow over anything in its path.
What about like a tank?
Well, a tank would be great, but you'd never say like, oh man, you got thrown under the tank. You always throw people under the bus.
This is very true. I feel like they're doing so much better than a bus.
Maybe it's one of those really nice buses that have like Wi-Fi and TVs. They're just relaxing. They have their own driver.
They don't even hear it. It's like soundproof inside, and it's just they're running over Vici Gaming. You can't even hear their screams.
Oh yeah, it's tinted windows. They're bumping that League of Legends rap battle, and they're just mouthing the words, pretending they're all Ezreal because they look like boy band members. I mean, it'll probably work out really great.
I'm hearing some disdain, perhaps, with K-pop.
I don't know
China.
if that was K-pop. That seemed...
I heard boy bands, and so I immediately went to K-pop.
Yeah, that was an Ezreal joke more than anything.
I want K-pop Ezreal. That's a skin, right? Should be.
Yeah, I think we're getting there. So now we're going to have Amazing J. They have a culling for one wave, and then what are they going to do for the next wave?
Pray.
They have, maybe Aurelia Ultimate?
Yeah, could try to use the Aurelia Ultimate right there. Translucent Blades. I'm trying to remember my play-by-play casting here. But it looks like Amazing J is perhaps setting up for the dive. He steps forward and completely zones off Vici Gaming just with the presence of his body here. Scatter the Weak trying to find a pick. They do catch Moon again, and there he goes.
Yeah, Moon on the manlier champion this time, but still drops like a sack of potatoes. you know, not able to withstand any damage. I think got the shield up that time, but didn't block anything. Another stun comes across.
Oh, into a hook, and there
Oh!
goes Carry. Immediately, Amazing J turning on that Maokai ultimate.
Yeah, I saw the stun. I'm like, oh, they're not going to follow up, and then walks right into the hook. Another hook forces a dash out of Lucian. First inhibitor probably going down at 20 minutes 30 seconds, and this is going to beat out their average time as they're just dominating these games.
We'll see where they go from here as they disengage from the base now. Baron is a freaking test, but they honestly don't need it to win this game. We'll see if they go down and start to create multiple pressure points in this mid and bottom tower and continue to look for the picks that have been pretty much winning them the game.
Yeah, they have a 1.5 times gold lead right now on VG. This is where you pull the cheese. This is where maybe you're going to sit in that river brush. Maybe you'll sit in that river brush by Dragon, hope that they come around to try and ward the small little brush in the river, and then just pounce on them. Hopefully get a pick on someone like Kha'Zix maybe coming to ward, and then pray, because that's the other part of their plan right now, that Maokai is nowhere to be found.
That has to be factored in there because they need a miracle to come back from this. Again, 21 minutes, 30 seconds on the clock, 14-2 in favor of Energy Pacemaker. They're one game up, so this is game, set, and match for Vici Gaming, and over a 10k gold deficit, mostly due to the fact that EP has 6 structural objectives to 2, so running away with this game.
Yeah, towers have just been falling down beneath them both of these games. They've focused on objectives so well, and even when they didn't get it the first time, they came back and just hammered it home. Last game we saw them down bottom where they pushed really hard, they got a bunch of flashes, but nothing really came of it. And then, sure enough, a minute later, they were down there with 4 more people. They got the kills because no flashes were up, and then they picked up the tower and the dragon. And they just seem like they execute better. They're much better at the teamwork here, and now they're chasing Amazing J. Is this real life?
Have you seen Watchmen?
Yes.
Okay, so you know the famous quote, "I'm not stuck in here with you, you're stuck in here with me." They're not chasing Amazing J is chasing them.
Yeah, they're really just signing their own death warrants. You know, hopefully they have a little quip for their tombstones as they go after the tankiest Maokai right now. 5-0-5, 153 CS, 2 full items built, and he actually bought level 3 boots, which is kind of an interesting pickup. It's one of those kind of like snowball-y
It's distortion,
pickups.
yeah?
Yeah.
It, you know, gives him the benefit cooldown on his summoner spells, teleport and flash, excuse me.
I guess maybe if you're worried about the split push out of Riven and Aurelia, you know, the 1-3-1, which they kind of started pulling off earlier, that would help there. But now it's just a matter of time. They haven't made a mistake last game. They don't look like they're even going to attempt a Baron this game. I don't see a mistake in their future. I don't have the 10-second crystal ball.
To dodge scatter the weak, but of course there goes Moon right there, closely followed by Zen. Oh, will he walk out? Nope, there he goes. Khan, Valkyrie to the back line as Energy Pacemaker just running through Vici Gaming right here. It's a slaughter and a clean ace for none as they march down the Nexus doors for a clean 2-0.
You're supposed to channel your inner Rivington when you see people hop in like that and go, ooh.
That was the best impression I could ever manage.
That was very Thanksgiving-esque, actually.
Now I really want turkey.
Yeah. So EP, look how devastated those guys look in their snazzy jackets. It was rough. Those games didn't even look like a contest.
Yeah, so with this, don't worry, Vici Gaming is not out. They're just going to be forced down into the losers bracket. Let me go ahead and put that bracket, which is not updated, onto the screen before you. But Vici Gaming will now move up into the next round. Energy Pacemaker will move down. They will face their sister team again, Energy Pacemaker Carries. Oh, no, excuse me. They'll face the loser of whoever loses between World Blade Academy and GTF, which... good thing. We're actually going to continue this cast. However, it will not be Skill Factor or myself. It will be, I believe, Tasty Nubbins and River. No, not Tasty. Raz and River picking up the second part of this cast, which, thank goodness, because I'm starting to mix up names and words. I've been doing this far too long. But thank you so much, Skill Factory, for joining me on the casting desk and putting up with my terrible play-by-play casting.
Hey, I had a great time. Your play-by-play improved immensely from those those couple games. So it's just you just gotta get back in the swing of it, you know, just like riding a bike. It's just like riding a bike.
So I'm gonna go ahead and kick the stream back over. I'm gonna mute myself. Don't worry if you see the stream go offline for a second. We're simply changing out our casting team as well as our OBS team, but we will be right back. This is only the halfway point.
对于一个职业选手最高的评价吧。对于职业选手来说，可能登上这种舞台，就最多也就1次到2次。
很开心能过来参加这次 S4。非常干净，
吃的东西也挺好吃的，感觉这城市还是蛮不错的。 来这边之后，还是就是队员们还有我们队伍都很不习惯，然后这边的训练的话，就感觉就很烂。训练方面肯定跟我们基地有点差别，因为这里毕竟是酒店嘛。其实我们队伍就是还是有比较明显的缺陷的，打得太保守了。这样的话，基本上就是给别人进攻的机会。 而我们队的话，进攻的手段很少。现在队内的状况也不怎么好，主要是不能沟通，就是很多话都不能讲出去，要靠翻译或者什么。我们不单单是代表俱乐部，更代表的是中国队。希望这次能为中国队，然后为中国职业争份光吧，希望能取得很好的成绩。为国家打这个比赛。 感觉很荣幸。
AB 组的2个兄弟战队都出现了嘛？那如果你要是没有出现的话，肯定给你的压力会更加大一点。
输了第1天之后，我们就一直开会，开了很久，大家都一直在说，情绪都比较激动嘛。
集中表达，上了，差一下，差一下。 恭喜 OMG！ 一场经典的完盘，终于是保住了小组赛出现的希望。
指导在演的时候就觉得很感动嘛，不知道为什么就能激起那种你努力很多，然后收获回报的那种感觉。
在国内也已经交手过很多次，我看他们小组赛打得并不是那么好。我们打皇族的话，我觉得我们这边算是占优一点，感觉刷分5-5开吧，没有那么好。
EDG 和皇族都是很强的一个队伍，而且都是中国队伍嘛，其实是很残酷的。我感觉，如果他们赢了的话，祝福他们可以走得更远吧，为他们加油，
祝福他们吧，反正都是中国队。 BO5其实更重要的是心态吧，就是不能导致输掉1局就输掉了心态。
无奈终于是被对手追成了2比2平，恭喜EDG。
连赢2盘，后面一直输就弄得人很不正常，心态被弄乱了。1-2个人的话，心态崩了的话，其他人心态应该也不会好的。最后不想留下遗憾，也不想输啊，就很想赢的。
2局3的情况，最后还是稳定住了。
恭喜
皇族！
我更希望跟 YMG 打，因为我相信 YMG 可以赢拿金球。
我们打完小组赛之后，就感觉韩国队就那样嘛，
不管说能不能赢，但是起码我们是非常有信心的。在比赛里面很重要的关头，有人要上去牺牲啊。进入了一场比赛，你首先要想的是赢，就很简单，就为了赢，做什么都可以。
3比0了，3比0了，
漂亮，你换我 S 了，
恭喜我们！
哇，真是感谢我们！
觉得皇族这个队伍挺克我们的，这一次的话，我们一定会搞定他们。 让训练的一些东西能拿得出来，把皇族带入我们的节奏里。
我相信我们一定能赢。
之后的比赛只要不要上单那么舒服的话，应该赢他们没什么问题。今天希望还是能阻止他们进决赛。
掉下来，8条大招，Q 中了，这场比赛太精彩了！恭喜黄子龙，再一次做掉了 OMG， 但是 OMG 也没有关系 ，OMG 依然是所有人的勇士，他们战胜了南京 Shell 的3-0的比分。
觉得很可惜，很有机会拿下比赛，反而输了。
打完比赛瞬间感觉有一点点累，
可能会休息几天吧。
希望他们能代表中国拿个冠军，
加油吧！毕竟是代表中国队。
非常感谢你们，让我再次又进到了决赛，非常感谢。觉得这次的场馆比 S3的时候还要大。我是非常开心的，因为没有想到刚刚组建的一个新的队伍可以又打进决赛，连续2次都打进决赛是非常难得的。
这个事情从来就没有人完成过嘛，就只有我跟小狗完成过嘛，可以说是荣耀。
现在很多人都说3星一定会赢嘛。
之前在我们打 EDG 和 OMG 的时候，外界也不怎么看好我们。
其实我们也知道他们实力很强，但是我觉得他们如果轻敌的话，还是会输的。
尽最大努力去打吧，毕竟对手非常强。
漂亮，这边的法桃都绝地反击，又再继续被虚弱。我们恭喜三层艾特获得2014年英雄联盟最终的总决赛冠军。
我们